This is Saurabh, and you're listening to my favorite talk show, The Weekly Show with Aditya.
1st of January 2020 will not only be known for the start of a new decade, but also the 150th episode of the greatest talk show of the century. No other talk show has entertained its viewers than the weekly show with Aditya, and we strive to go to greater heights as we enter the year 2020. On the show tonight, we have very special guests who have a special message for the listeners. So stay tuned. Being humans love to profess ourselves as the most intelligent and the superior beings on the planet. In contemporary times, when it's difficult to distinguish between artificial intelligence and human intelligence or aliens and natives, blaming certain individuals for the collective blunder that happened in the world is also a typical and a unique human trait. Climate change is one such incident that has dominated discourse over the past 15 years, and with self-professed climate activists increasing in number, this debate is bound to get more aggressive. By making this climate change debate a match between the developed and the developing world, the divide and rule policy has once again risen like the phoenix. Consumerism, which was once upon a time seen as the modern way to go about things, is now being given an evil context as one tries to link everything to climate change. This debate around climate emergency shows that how humans love to control things, react when things are taken away from them, when they have no control over events. Natural disasters, forest fires, melting polar ice caps is not a byproduct of the last 5 to 10 years, but over the past 1,000 years. All this concern for climate change shows the human greed and not the concern about the planet. Being miserly is the order of the day. Concern for climate change only became a rage after humans became bored, with no more world wars due to take place because of its nature. Technological advancements reaching a saturation point. Few self-professed pseudo-climate activist groups decided now let's focus on this phenomena called climate change and let's create a panic-like situation in the world. Humans don't feel vindicated about themselves unless panic takes over. This will get more aggressive as now one will judge an individual not by their intellect but by their consuming habits. Individuals' job and marriage prospects will not be decided by the degrees they have. How often an individual voices their concern on the digital media about climate change, and if one doesn't, they could be seen as planet haters. Along with climate change, another impact that has been noticed over the past 15 years is about the effect of technology and its misuse. Financial crises have given way to climate crises and technological crises. So probable that this climate concern will not last for too long as human beings are fickle-minded and they are easily distracted. It won't be surprising that a new hypothetical crisis comes around the corner in the next 5 years and the human fickle mind turns attention towards this new hypothetical crisis. Let us look at a few solutions which have been given by these self-professed climate activists on how to reduce carbon emission. buy a laptop instead of desktop as it requires less energy to charge and run. The best thing is, why not have both? Have a laptop and a desktop. Desktop is slightly better than a laptop because one doesn't have to charge it after every few hours. At least while working on the desktop, we are in a proper position as far as our spinal position is concerned. But if one uses a laptop, then we will use the laptop in the most hurting position, especially to our back and our spine. Laptop is a security threat. If you're working in an institution where the security of the data is very important, then using a laptop is inimical to the security and the data. Carrying a laptop on your shoulders every day can also affect your spinal position. There is a possibility that one can forget a laptop while traveling in a public transport. Yes, human beings are prone to that. Public transport is individual specific. In the place one works, if one is a student, then yes, public transport is practical. But if one is working in a industry or in an institution where the data and such things are sensitive, then public transport is not the right choice. One has to be practical about this. For example, if one is a doctor and there is an emergency, we cannot waste our time waiting for the public transport to go to the hospital. Here, one's private transport becomes important. Why bother about public or private transport? Let's become royal again and use horse carriages as once upon a time the monarchy used to do. Why sweat over a laptop or a desktop when the best product is the typewriter? It doesn't even need an electrical connection. There is no question of energy usage. Be practical before going on this sudden craze about climate change. Let us hear from the first guest of the evening, Saurabh.
Hello everyone, this is Saurabh, and today I'm going to talk about powerlifting. Powerlifting is a sport which is based on three main lifts. The first one is squat, then bench, and then deadlift. So squat is the first lift, which is basically putting a barbell on your back and then squatting down, going below parallel, and then coming right back up. So, and the next lift is bench. Bench is basically when you lie down on a bench and then unrack the bar, bring it down to your chest, and then bring it back straight up again till your elbows lock out, and then re-rack it. The last one is deadlift. The bar is on the floor. You walk towards it, you bend down, you pick it up, and then you bring it up to your waist level, and you lock it out. Your knee should be locked and your elbow should be locked, and then you put it back down. So these three main lifts make up powerlifting. And once you add your total for all these three lifts, that is whatever pound or in kilos, that's your total. There are different levels in the sport. The total is going to be different for, let's say, advanced level, elite level, beginner level, novice level. And there are different weight classes, such as 82.5 kilos, 110 kilos, 120 kilos, super heavyweight. So it depends. You could be elite at, let's say, elite total at, let's say, 82.5 kilos, but then have a really, let's say, novice or even intermediate total at a super heavyweight. So it all depends on what weight class you compete in. So that's the basic of the sport. I've been doing this for over 2 years now, and I think I'm at the novice level, I would say. My total is about 850 pounds for squat, bench, and dead. And when you train powerlifting, you usually have like these three main lifts that you do either 3 or 4 days a week. And to help you in these lifts, you also have a couple of accessories, which is basically other lifts such as overhead press, rows, belt squats, and different variations of bench, squat, and dead. So some of the most popular variations are pause benching, close grip benching, touch and go bench, which is used by a lot of coaches. And for squat, it's pause squat, SSB squat, which is basically like a safety squat bar lift, which is more quad dominant. So it helps you build up your quads, which usually you might not get that much activation if you, let's say, you have a low bar squat. And then for deads, you have pause deadlifts, where basically you just pause the deadlift right below your shin for, let's say, 1 or 2 seconds, and then bring it right back up. And then you follow through on the second rep. So for deadlift, actually, I mentioned it before. So powerlifting allows people to deadlift in 2 ways. One is sumo. First one is conventional, which is basically you just have your feet width set apart as the same width as the shoulders. So you bend down, and it depends on your mechanics. Right? It can work for everyone. It usually does, but for some people, they find sumo more useful. So sumo deadlift is basically where you you broaden your legs. That way, your hips would be close to the plate. Sorry, your feet would be close to the plates, and you would have a much shorter range of motion in bringing the bar back up. So it looks easier, and some people even call it as cheating lift. So it depends on it's highly individual. Some people have an easier time with sumo deadlift, and most people will probably have an easier time with conventional deadlift. I do conventional. I haven't tried sumo much, but I would say conventional suits me much better for lifting heavier weights. So that's in a nutshell about what powerlifting is. Powerlifting, there's broadly 2 different type of meets. Meets is basically where you go and compete, and then whatever total they get is depends on how you competed in. So one is geared powerlifting, where you're allowed to use some supportive shirts, which is like a bench shirt. It gives you some more push at the bottom of the lift. It depends how much more, but you can usually lift like 1,500 pounds heavier than you normally would be able to on a regular bench. And then there's same thing for squat as well. It helps you when you're coming back out of the hole, allowing you to push more. Raw powerlifting allows you to wear wraps and a belt. That's it. So belt helps you to stabilize your core, and people are usually able to put on like 30 40 pounds more than they would be able to beltless. And then knee wraps also help during squats. So and I don't think for bench there is really anything that you can use, and maybe wrist wraps. Those help with stabilizing your wrists and preventing injury. I'm not sure about elbow wraps. Seen much use of it in competitions, in meets. So I think that was at a high level what powerlifting is, and I'll see if I can get more information later on, but for now that's it.
This was Saurabh, our first guest of the 150th episode, and we would like to thank him for being a part and sparing their valuable time and giving their experience on such an extreme sport. WWE's third biggest event after SummerSlam and WrestleMania is the Royal Rumble, where one sees over 30 wrestlers, men and women, wrestle in an unique way, where it's not about pinfalls, submissions, or disqualifications. It's about throwing your fellow competitor over the ropes, and the one who stands the last man and the last woman standing main event WrestleMania, and it will be interesting to see whether the winner of the 2020 Royal Rumble event decides to face either Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, or Bray Wyatt or Daniel Bryan for the Universal Championship. WWE has a unique way of bringing back old wrestlers or those who have been out of action for months. For example, John Cena has been out of action for months, and it won't be a surprise if he makes his re entry at the Royal Rumble event. But who are the individuals most likely to have a chance at this event? It's difficult to say at this point in time. Roman Reigns, who has not got a title opportunity over the past year, will be looking to seal his legacy by winning this particular event, and this Royal Rumble event only matches the Money in the Bank event. Royal Rumble is not about how big and strong you are, but how quick an individual is, because even the most big and strong individuals find themselves eliminated if a host of wrestlers make effort to eliminate the individual. This is what one often sees. Though this event is still a couple of weeks away, the excitement surrounding this has reached feverish proportions. Everyone is gearing up to win the Royal Rumble event. This will have a direct impact on how the WrestleMania main event comes out eventually. But before that happens, Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt are set to face each other at the Royal Rumble event, and the winner of this match will face the winner of the Royal Rumble elimination match at the main event at WrestleMania. The implications of this match are huge, and by giving Daniel Bryan another opportunity to face Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship, the WWE management are looking for a familiar face to take up the challenge at WrestleMania, and even at WrestleMania, expect surprises, because this is what these two events are all about. In terms of sports, apart from WWE, which is about sports entertainment, but in sports where medals play an important role. The year 2020 will be very important as far as the big events are concerned, from the Men and Women's World Cup 2020 to the Hockey Pro League, by some distance the biggest event of the year, that is Olympics. One can even fit the Euro 2020 in there somewhere. It won't be about what these events are, but when these events are being held, and with a new decade looming as far as sports is concerned, there an Indian legend in Leander Pace calling it a day in the year 2020 and giving the reins to the most talented lawn tennis players ever seen. The year 2020 will start a decade that no Indian fan will ever forget. We have another special guest, Lakshaya, who will talk about how the year 2020 holds importance for Indian sports.
Hello, I'm Laksh. As you asked, how important is the year 2020 for Indian sports? Summer Olympics is going to happen in 2020 between July and August in Tokyo, Japan. And as an avid follower of sports, particularly Taekwondo, I am very excited about it. I really believe India performed better than any other Olympics this time and get the highest count of medals, as India have many promising athletes and lots of talented people. So far, 62 Indians have qualified for the Olympics in 6 sports: hockey, shooting, equestrian, archery, wrestling, and athletics. Not only the Olympics, but the year end will be followed by ICC T20 World Cup in Australia, where we really have a very good chance to win. I hope for the best for both the Olympics and T20 World Cup. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshaya, for taking out your valuable time and giving us your viewpoints on the future of Indian sports as far as the year 2020 is concerned. This brings to an end episode 150. Hope you enjoyed this iconic episode on this very special evening. Till next time, goodbye and take care.
This is Saurabh, and you're listening to my favorite talk show, The Weekly Show with Aditya.
Please send your valuable suggestions through your comments and audio recording to the email ID adityatherewriter@gmail.com. You can also like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and Facebook page, and stay tuned for the next episode.